Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I am Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. What's up, guys? We are live and we are excited to share what we love: sport karate, sport martial arts with you guys. And man, it was another busy sport martial arts weekend. Lots of tournaments going on all over the place. You had WKC, USA Nationals was going on. The Leclercs had a big tournament out in New York this weekend. Was the NASCAR AAA. So lots of competitors competing, lots of promoters, lots of coaches doing big things. So congrats to everyone that was out there. If you went to a tournament this weekend, comment below and let us know how you did and who were the big winners at the tournament you went to. All right.
Yeah,
tonight we
drop
talk
some
about
insider updates.
right. We are talking tonight about the qualities of a promoter. So this is going to be a fun topic. The qualities and sharing some good qualities of our promoters that we currently have. Some qualities we'd like to see more of, and some important qualities that we've noticed over the years, and talking about how our sport needs to move forward and how it can. And
we might even
here we go.
name names. Who knows?
Right. So, all right, guys, also make sure you're sharing the podcast with everybody. That's what I'm doing right now. So get on, share the pod with everybody. And again, thank you to the Virtual Fight Tour, Jesse Ray, and everyone for almost 5 years of Inside Scoop, man. So we are getting prepared for our 5th anniversary show, and we're going to try to do it up big, man. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, it's coming up quick. All right, so one thing you couldn't believe, yes, you had your pop, so I had a pickle. Yes, a pickle pop.
That's real.
Right? It is real.
That's
frozen
a real thing.
Pickle juice, and it's good for you. It's good for your muscles. It's a
what would make that good for you?
Like pickles are some of the best for like potassium and your muscle joints, to where you don't have aches and pains or spasms, or your muscles don't lock up. It's one of the best for that. So, yeah.
So time out. Then people out there that like love pickles, and I actually kind of like pickles. Right? I get it. Like there's certain things. I think once you know the difference between one pickle or another pickle, I think you've gone too far. Okay. Look at look at your face as you're sucking this thing down. Like you got like such a sour face. You're just sucking down sour frozen pickle juice. Look at this, man. So if I get like a Chicago dog, it's got a pickle on it. I like it, and I'm like, I want to enjoy that pickle. I do it a little different. I'm like, hey, put my pickle to the side because I just want to enjoy the pickle itself. Give me a little extra celery salt all over.
Right.
Okay. If I get a burger, sure, bring me the pickles. I'll have the pickles. Whatever the pickles come with, I'll have the pickles. Because I want but I'm never ever in life ever just be like, man, I would love a pickle right now. That has literally never happened in my entire life. But I've ever been like, hey, wouldn't a pickle be great right now? No, because almost anything else would be better than a pickle. What are you thinking? And they only call it pickle because it's a pickled cucumber. And who pickles things? But hey, this one worked out, and it's got its own thing. I can honestly say I will never ever have that.
So here's the other thing.
I get what?
So Shelly found these, right? And like apparently growing up in Texas, it was a thing that they would have instead of like snow cones. So they would have the snow cone and then just pour real pickle juice on that. And that would be the flavor that they would get. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
They have pickle pops, pickle
What?
everything in Texas. Yeah.
I want to hear what other insiders have that are just crazy snacks or treats,
Right.
because
Who knew?
pickle and like dessert treat, like they shouldn't go together. It's like,
Well,
yeah, no,
do you like key lime pie? Do you
It's-
like key lime pie? Huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean that's bitter and
You
different
have a
and lime.
fruit. No, it's a fruit in a pie.
Okay. Okay. I get
It's
you.
a what you're talking about is a pickled vegetable. But let's take a pickled vegetable and let's make it in frozen form, put it in a little plastic tube, and then suck on it. Like, the more you talk about it, the crazier it gets.
Anyways, so this weekend, I went down and took a little bit of a break. Shelly and I went down to Fort Myers again. Had an awesome time in Florida. Fort Myers Beach, went to Captiva.
That's your guys' spot.
Again. Yeah. Went to Naples this
Oh, I
time.
like Captiva.
Just Captiva is awesome,
Where'd
man.
you go,
And there's
Captiva?
so many.
Where'd you go?
We just went all the way to the end. Like we went to
You
There's
were
a
in the
place
end by the Mucky Duck?
yeah. So that's where we last year we went and ate at the Mucky Duck. This time though, it was just
Cool little
crowded.
spot. You know what that little ring game? You know what they got? The little ring in the hook?
Oh yeah. It's a good
Oh
spot.
man.
So we went actually
Yeah.
we went past that, so where the road actually ends and just ends up to the sand. So there's a good spot there where you can just park.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's
Yeah, those
So
are cool little spots, but they're like, it's weird because you get it. It's like island life, even though
Yeah.
you're still in the States, right? It's a cool little
Right.
spot. I dig it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's great. And then we found last year we went to a place called Dixie Fish that is right on the it's a great little spot that's right on like the dock side and the bay side, right under the bridge to get to Fort Myers Beach, right? And so we ate there twice this time. Just the food's so good. And it's beautiful, man. Just the vibe, the music, yeah, just you're right on the water, and there's ducks and not ducks, sorry, birds and all kinds of stuff, pelicans, everything just flying around there. It's just a lot of fun. So
Maybe.
good food, a lot of good food. So we enjoyed that. We got back last night about
seashell capital of the world.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's
right. It's the seashell capital. Every people out there, they just sit there. You just see people hunched over, looking in the sand, picking up little shells.
That's what we did last year. This year, no, nothing. So, what I did find sand dollars this time, and finally got to show Shelly what a live sand dollar looked like. She never seen one before, so found that. So a lot of fun, man. A lot of good stuff, and got back last night about 1. So still, back into getting back into the rhythm of things, and then I will leave for Battle of Atlanta Wednesday night. So. Gonna be a big weekend, man. Wow. It's gonna be awesome. Gonna be wild and crazy right now. But Thursday, I got a couple spots open for lessons, guys. And then I'm doing actually a kicking session that night as well on Thursday. So make sure you don't leave Atlanta without training with me. Also gonna do some things on Sunday too. Have some spots available on Sunday after the tournament. So, but just making a big weekend of it. So yeah, man, staying busy.
That's
if
you're not charging triple for that, these people are getting a steal of a deal.
Oh yeah,
think of what you got to do. You know what I mean? And then just I'm not about, but people should definitely take advantage of this because look at that. Look at all of what you're doing, and then they're there the whole time. Like, yeah. Supply and demand, friends. Supply and demand. There's only one. There's only one Jeff Doss. That's the supply.
All right. So, thanks, Trey. Hope you're doing well, man. All right. You want to go right to our competitor of the weeks? Let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then anybody that that was at WKC US Nationals. Let us know some things about it and comment on those. I'm going to go with my competitor of the week, and my competitor of the week was at the the WKC USA Nationals. He is from the Detroit area, on Team 313, and he's been on the circuit for about 2 years now. And I didn't know that the guy was for 8 years a pro wrestler in the area, right? So this month he decided to have his comeback. He said, you know what? I took a break from it, focus on sport karate. I want to make this comeback and really do it, right? Well, he knows a lot of people in sport karate world as well. There's several ones that put on events. And, like our own Martial Arts Internet Network, Mike Gibbs. So Mike Gibbs was there for his match. This dude comes in, judges Friday and Saturday for the WKC USA Nationals. Gets pulled in kind of last minute to do that. He's there, support and coach a couple of his friends there. And then was going to compete Sunday. But Saturday night, he had a wrestling match. And this wasn't a regular wrestling match. He had a death match. Okay? And when I mean a death match, I'm talking about they're breaking light tubes over each other's head and back. They're going through glass. They're going through tables. I don't know. They might have pulled out some thumbtacks. I'm not sure exactly. They were hitting each other with chairs. It's full out blood and guts. Okay. So he finishes the match. Mike Gibbs posts a picture and it says, Alex Weir will not be competing at the Great Lakes, on Sunday. And there's a picture of Alex being carried out, blood all over his back, and then you know what Alex's response was? Yes, I will. So this dude wrestles a death match, all right? And then goes and does forms, weapons, and sparring. So he's got blood, he's got wounds, open wounds, and he's doing his bow form. And he got a second place in bow. He's fighting. So imagine, you're blitzing someone and you're getting a reverse punch or a side kick right in a spot that had glass last night, right? So Alex is a person who has a great personality. I love hanging out with this guy, and he continues to get better, and he is someone who brings a lot of energy to the sport. So awesome job, man. Just your heart, your dedication, and your the way you inspire everyone on your team and around you is amazing. So keep that up, man.
I can't even fathom like what he had to do. I mean, but that's the thing. If you're a pro wrestler, if you're going to go down that road, like, you're not normal. And I don't just mean like crazy, like nuts. I mean, like, the things you do, they're not normal. Like, yeah, you'll look at, getting an inadvertent, knee to the face and be like, all right, this is part of the job. All right. So yeah, I'm not going to sit and, think about how my face got messed up, because there wouldn't be time for you to think about all the things that have you in an ailment, right? There's just too many. Like, there's no such thing as fully healthy. That's got to be. But man, because you know what's going to happen. Yeah. Here's what's going to happen. Because he took a break from pro wrestling to focus on sport karate, and then basically did both, right?
Right.
So, but he never really stopped. Once he stops, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know, maybe he's gonna be like, oh, this is what your body's supposed to feel like, or his body's just so messed up that it'll never feel good. Who knows, man? I don't know how to fathom that.
Yeah, I don't know. And he does a lot of crazy things in that ring, lots of flips, lots of aerial tactics. So it's pretty cool. So congrats to him, man, and keeps inspiring people. David Prame put an awesome post out about him saying thank you, and that he was the only person that he had an issue with, that he had as a center ref, that he had to have kind of a discussion with, was Jody. And at that time, he didn't know that was Jody Tension that he was there. So it was kind of funny. It's a cool story.
What?
So Yeah, because Alex comes
Oh, by
from
the way, low key, Johnny.
Tang Soo Do, closed Tang Soo Do tournaments. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
No.
So at first, so he didn't really necessarily. He's heard about him
I
from
mean,
training
I
with those guys.
understand that reality, but Jottie's name is so big, it's like a verb. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's true. But guess what? Guess what? Here's the deal. I think even some people, Johnny doesn't look the same. All right. He's young. He doesn't look the same as he did 20, 30 years ago.
That's actually just what I was going to say. I dig his beard. His beard looks so cool now.
Yeah, it is cool. It is
right?
cool.
But even when he was just lined up, when he just had the goatee, when he was just like pencil line goatee, and he always had it lined up pretty perfect. And then he did the beard for a while. Now this thing, he's got the gray on the sides too. He kind of looks like Ed Reed, right?
Yeah.
The face, the beard looks like Ed Reed.
No,
and I'm like, dude, Ed Reed's like, he's got a level of cool. I think it looks so cool, right? But what are you gonna do? I'm not gonna have gray like that. Mine, see, he'll look like aged but cool. I'll just look old.
Yeah. All right, go ahead and share your competitor of the week.
My competitor of the week is also a Michigan native. Mine is Jermon Wiggins. Now, Jermon Wiggins has been on episodes of the Martial Arts Center Network. Jermon Wiggins is a decently vocal guy about what he thinks and feels about sport martial arts.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's also, I think Jermon would get a little bit more. Well, I think he would have gotten more like, how do I want to say this? I think he would have had more interest in teams wanting to pick him up if he would have competed nationally still while in college. I think in like the earlier 2000s, even when he was in Michigan State, I think if he would have done like a tournament or two, I think people have been like, man, we need a guy like that. A guy who's long, lean. He's still got to be like, what, 164 pounds, right? And he's probably 6'2", 6'3", right?
Yeah.
And mostly leg, right? And that leg, I mean, he's got something on it, right? So he's very good, right? And his leg, because it's light and he's able to do a lot with it. I remember Travis making fun of me because he knocked me out. Jermon knocked me out. This is a real thing, right?
Wow.
So, and he was like, yeah, dude, we were making fun of like, how are you gonna go and compete the Diamond Nationals and the super fights? You really competed? Are you sure? And then he knocks me out. So, but what had happened, I think I told this before, the BJ Carnahan actually knocked me out in training like the day before, right? So what are you gonna do? But he, not to take anything away, right? He slipped and hit me with a straight shot. Down I went. But I got so bummed when I've
seen him drop so many people with kicks, man. Just wild, like crazy.
That's just what I was gonna say. But like with kicks, because wow, he can do so many different things with his leg. Like one thing is that kickers will notice this. Kickers not just notice what you hit, they notice like what you hit with, specifically parts of the foot, right? He hits with his heel, right? What did Brett say? I just saw him for the first time in years. If he's 165, that's fully clothed. You know what? Metabolism has never caught up with him, right? He's still, metabolism is still trying to chase him down, and Jermon has a commanding lead on metabolism, that's for sure. But no, just what I was saying, like the parts of the foot that a kicker hits with, like when you see like, all right, if you sidekick at somebody and they block it like on the arm, but you notice like that's with his heel, you're like, dang, I don't even need to know. I know that hurt. I know that hurt. Right. And there's little things like that. Like he'll be able to do that. Right. So I just dig him. I dig his style. I like his personality a lot. And anytime you're around him, it's a fun and enjoyable experience. So my competitor of the week, Jermon Wiggins, Want to see him fighting more, even though we saw him fight earlier in the year. He didn't announce no retirement. He's still going. Let's
No,
see
he's
some
still
more wins.
going, man. He's still going. Yeah, we'll probably see him. Well, we'll see him this weekend at the Battle. We'll probably see him at the U.S. Open right
Uh-huh.
after. So
Mhm.
it's kind of funny. I think about 6 months ago, I don't know, he either asked me something or I responded to one of his stories on Instagram just laughing, right? And then I accidentally called him, like FaceTimed him and butt died him. And then he's like, "Hey, Jim," I'm like, and then we just ended up talking for like 30 minutes. It was a complete accident, and we just ended up talking for a while. It was great, man. But I always love talking to that dude, man. He's just a great guy, and we'll always bring up stories because, again, like Brett, him, myself, Chris Molares, all of us were in like that same division growing up, on NBL. Also, he was in that in NASCAR tournaments too when I was younger as well. So we just always been in it, man. So awesome. So
I think
better the
about
week, Jamad.
I think about guys like that, and I think how other fighters and competitors now need to really look at that and go, at one point, Jermon, I mean, at one point he's not going to fight again, and if he's not fighting again, you might not see him again. At one point, they have to look at that and go, you know what? Hey, let's talk. Right? This might
Right.
and so many of us have to really understand the reality that if so-and-so weapons competitor was just like, I don't know, man, I'm just not feeling it. And you get used to seeing this guy every 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Like that, you may never see him again. And that's just the reality. So, but that's not saying, hey, go out and be a social butterfly and talk to everybody, but put your arm around everyone and start taking pictures. But if there's someone that you're like, you know what, we should talk. You have instant access to where you can do that. Sit down, have a conversation. And I'm glad that I have an opportunity to do that with so many people, that I was able to just sit down next to Richard Plowden and just talk. I was able to sit down next to Steve Babcock and just talk. And other guys and competitors. Hard part about this sport too is being someone like Ross Levine, who I feel towed that line of I'm a competitor and we don't need to really get that social right now, but with everybody thinking that he's your friend. I think he did it the best. So great having him on last week too, right?
Oh yeah.
What awesome career.
All right, Alex. So we're talking about promoter stuff.
Yeah, let's do it.
This weekend is the Battle of Atlanta. So we got lots going on. Guys, if you guys have any stories from WKC Nationals, put those in the comments. If you're there, let us know. And again, those guys do great. It was cool to see some of the some different names and faces there. I know some of the ones from last year, like Tim Conkle and his whole team were there and did awesome. Kumite, Bill Viola's team, Cam Klaus was there. Winning again, another great weekend for him. At the you had Jody there with his team. He was there this year. Darren Payne was there this year. So lots of great competitors. I'm probably missing some people. There's so many more that compete from there. And also they had a good amount of local guys there. So it wasn't the same place as last year. It was moved to I think it was University of Michigan Dearborn gym. So very big in one area and easier for the spectators and stuff to see. So looked great. The Plowdens and the whole, that whole family, that whole group there, David Prame, all those guys, the whole MSKC group doing an amazing job. And then they had the LA program, the Great Lakes Pro-Am the next day. Travis was out there. I know Brett was there as well. Did a great job. Congrats, Brett. Travis was out there, and man, he was trying this thing where he has like the Ray-Bans that were live streaming while he was walking around. Yeah,
I gotta get those.
That would be great for your business too, and all of ours.
First thing I thought of too. I'm like, you imagine? Hey guys, this is what it actually looks like to mix. Don't pay attention to the fact that I don't scratch very much. Get rid of that.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things I want to do. Like, if I could get them to where they won't fall off during my form, wouldn't that be cool? Yeah, I know,
Oh,
right?
dude, you could get like the little rubber band in the back, like Horace Grant used to do, or Kurt Rambis.
It's great. I knew you. I love it.
I mean,
Anyways,
it's kind of funny, but at the same time, like, yeah, actually, it would be just like they could do if Kareem Abdul-Jabbar can wear goggles and play center, you could kick. I mean, you
It's true.
spin a lot more than he would, you know.
Not that much. All right. So congrats to everyone that made the team. And looks like a big team going to Portugal this year. So should be a fun one.
Yeah. That's
All
gonna be
right.
cool. You know, having a bit of a different, final destination for the worlds is always cool.
Yeah. All right. So Battle of Atlanta is this weekend. We got a lot of it's become this time of the year that we had that beginning, like we talked about before, with AKA, and then this time of year, this kind of month of Battle of Atlanta, and then US Open, and then now you have AAU championships and also US NKF championships all around the same time. It's just a big time for everybody doing martial arts and doing karate or taekwondo in that sport, martial arts era. So it's going to be wild, man. And the battle, who's the first competitor you think of when you hear the Battle of Atlanta?
I think of moments, but if I had to pin down to Battle of Atlanta competitor, it's probably Brian Ruth.
Okay, that's a good one.
I
Brian
mean,
Ruth, yeah.
But I mean, I think of moments like, didn't mean for it to go that way, but 2002 with Brian Ruth and Raymond Daniels, ooh, that was a good one.
The year
2000 with Kim Do when he landed the front flip,
Yeah,
I think of that kickboxing ring, the kickboxing ring with the spotlights that are moving. And when people were all around the ring, it wasn't just the front and the sides, it was all around the ring.
I love that. Yeah.
I actually really love that.
Yeah.
I think it would be great to have that, but I understand that, like, all right, now that we take video so much that you want to have a backdrop. I get the reality, but
what other sport does that? Exactly.
I get it. Concerts do it like what we're trying to. We're essentially trying to emulate that, but
yeah, but don't we want to see like
that.
the crowd? Like that's why I like having a circular type thing. That's what was always cool. Like to me, my favorite videos are like Bluegrass and Battle of Atlanta when there are people going ape,
New England.
Yeah, and just going nuts watching some of these things they're seeing, and just it's awesome. It's fun,
Yeah. I think New England Open, like when it was in like the Rich Batista days, when it was in that, low ceiling ballroom, when everybody's in there and it's like, did Anthony Atkins actually put his feet on the ceiling? Probably,
Right.
And
I mean,
it's just kind of more of an intimate environment.
Well, that's true. Yeah. And the battle for me, I started going to the battle in 1990. That was my first one. I went straight from 90 to 2000 without missing one. And there was actually a year or two, there might have been 2 years where there was 2 battles in the same year. So there was
I know 97.
97, it was in April and then at the end of the year. I was explaining to someone that, it wasn't always in June. It was always in the beginning of the year, that kind of March, April range. And then moved to, I think, November one year.
July or September or something.
And then it moved to September for a really, really long time. Yeah. All right. And then it was actually in the end of July for a while and then moved to June. And now here we are 2 weeks before US Open. It's kind of been that since probably, 2011. I know it was like that. So Yeah, it's
Yeah,
been a
10,
while
15
now.
years.
So
I think this is a good time because remember, this was the time of year when we had the bluegrass and everyone was so excited. Like as a kid,
Yeah.
and I didn't start competing in martial arts tournaments at this level when I was in school. When I was in high school, I was out of high school when I started competing in martial arts tournaments at this level. But you know, I got some things. I got classmates, you know, but you knew the feeling of when school got out. It was like, man, we're gonna have them, and you knew the first tournament, the big one where you knew everyone was going to be making it, where what was going to make it to was bluegrass because not everybody got out of school at the same time. Some people get out early in May, some people get out mid-May, but you know about the middle of June, everyone's out, right?
right.
And that's where they're going to be.
Yep.
I
It
think
was
an
always
ideal
like the
time of
first
year.
week for me.
Yeah, and it's Father's Day weekend. You ever notice? You ever think this is funny, right? Look at this. Mother's Day weekend. It's like a hot topic. Like, ooh, you're gonna have a big tournament Mother's Day weekend? Really? You sure you
Yeah.
want to do that? Father's Day weekend. That doesn't matter.
Yeah, we're all good.
But that's on Sunday. Big deal. You can get him
Yeah.
a tie and a cup of coffee the next day. It doesn't matter. You know, he'll grill for us.
It's true. Also this weekend too is Victory Martial Arts Big World Championship. So if people don't know, Victory was one of the biggest ATA schools for a long time. Now they're on their own and are doing their own conference and World Con and convention and championships and summit and testing this weekend as well in Orlando. So it's going to be crazy, man. All right. So for me, Battle of Atlanta, you know, I think of the first 720, you know, I think of
good one.
You know, I think of the first grand championship that John Valera won. He won the weapons grand that year in 1995. And, you know, in 1995 to beat Mike Bernardo in the division and to beat Mike Chat, you know, and I don't think he had a seed. It was wild. So like, it's just, this dude was just, that was kind of the beginning, you know, and kept kind of going from there. So,
and what people may not understand about those two guys, beating those two guys, Mark Bernardo was,
Mike,
I mean, we had seen people with the bow and do really cool things, and it wasn't such a widely practiced weapon. It wasn't really common practice for everyone in martial arts to be using weapons, right? Especially since so many of us are Taekwondo stylists. Taekwondo, for the most part, didn't really do weapons for a long time, right? And I think Mike Bernardo had a lot to do with changing that, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So to beat that guy is like a huge deal. And
It
really, chat was like the marketable thing because it was easier to conceptually visualize yourself like I can do what chat does than to do what John does, because chat was just a phenomenal kicker. All right. I looked at that and was like,
somewhat.
I believe
In that time, different. So like Chat was
different.
doing, you know, back tucks and was doing the split kicks and the 540s and the aerials.
Was better than John.
John wasn't doing that. John was not doing flips. John wasn't doing that. John was
but he was faster, he was stronger, and he had better tricks.
Yeah, but there wasn't, all right. Yes, but there, again, you're not understanding. You're still thinking of the 98, 99.
No, okay? I'm still going back. Listen, when you watch,
it wasn't really tricks. It was martial arts. It was martial arts.
I know. Look at you got me. Now you got me.
No, trash. Alex, you don't understand. The narrative was different. Okay, the narrative in '95 about John and Mike was not the same as it is now. 98, 99. In 98, 99, Mike was known as the clean martial artist with the kicks and all this and that, and John was the fast guy, the innovator. This in 94, 95, even as a junior.
That's right.
John was fast, but he was strong, but he was known as the actual martial artist. I'm not saying, but Mike was more the flair.
Right. Now I have to go back.
He did the 540, the arrows, he did the back to the.
Right.
It's a little different. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Things
No,
evolve.
I
Guys
think you're
really
right.
a lot. Mike.
However,
What Mike was really good at was the music, and I still
yes,
think
yes,
people forget how choreographed he was, and he did great at that. And that's where
he's probably one of the better ones of all time. He's one of the better ones of all time as far as
yeah,
musical forms. Um,
yeah.
but
So
however, though, Jeff, when Chat was doing the back tucks, I wasn't overly impressed. I was looked at that and was I looked at that when he would do them, and I'm like, whew, you barely got around. It didn't look all that great. It
right,
didn't
but
look all
again,
that great.
it wasn't in 95, 94, 95. Not everyone was doing that. Okay,
Yeah.
so it wasn't the same. He was pretty. He was decent at that. He was good at that. His jump split kick back tuck was good. Okay. I never saw him mess that up that much.
Was
Now,
cool.
I've seen Carmichael mess it up before. I didn't see, and I'm not bashing this or that. I'm just trying to let you understand the narrative was different about these
I
two.
need the reminder every now and then.
It's changed so much. Everyone just thinks about that last, kind of space when they were in, and it's not.
Well, like the last 4 years, 3 years.
Yeah, or even like the last two, or even after, So, but anyways, for me, last year was amazing, Battle of Atlanta for me, and excited to have that 1 year anniversary of the first Korean Challenge. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing people. I think the big thing that was always cool about the battle was celebrities. You had the Ninja Turtles, you had Evander Holyfield, you had the Power Rangers there, all those guys. Jason David Frank was there many times. You had a lot of local celebrities. And right now, the film industry is bigger than ever in Atlanta. And so many, and also even the pro wrestling industry, there's so many people that are in that Georgia area. A lot of our former competitor world champions are going to be there. So it's going to be really cool. So, you're going to get to see Mark Canizzato, Caitlin Deschelle, Calman, hopefully. Matt might be there because he's been there for a while. A lot of these guys, man. So really, it's going to be great to see and take advantage. Marcel, you're going to get to see these guys there. So
now, those are things people should do as well. Like if
yep.
you just see them around and you're like, wait, who's that? Is that Mark Canizzato? Have a conversation with the guy.
Yep, go talk to him.
Get a picture with the guy. All right. At one point, you're going to be like, never happened, right?
Yeah.
You never got a chance to do it. I totally do that.
So for me, people I think of like a Keith Vitale, right? I think of, someone like that just define, that Southern fighter, from that area. A Tony Young, I think of those guys. Jesse Thornton, go and talk to these legends as well. Marcel Lazenby, go and talk to these guys from that area that grew up when the battle was the battle. Okay. And I think we need to really, again,
Robert
big
Harris.
kudos. Yes. Robert Harris, big kudos to Manny Reyes Jr. again, putting out more and more video from these days lately. He's just put out some awesome video of Billy Blanks, some of Terry Kramer, some fights, of course, of Marty Eubanks. So lots of fun things, guys. So go and check those out. And again, the battle it's just big moments to me. What was one of your favorite forms you ever saw at the Battle of Atlanta?
One of my favorite forms at the battle didn't win, but I'll never forget it. And the reason why, okay, I'll tell you what it was. It was actually Mark Canizzato. All right.
Okay.
It was Mark Canizzato in 2005. Okay. And one of the things about Mark is pretty much what you see in February is what you're going to see in November. Right.
Okay.
He's not really going to change it, but I don't know why. That event, he was like, F it. I'm doing it all. Remember how Mark would always, some people listening, they might be like, oh yeah, I kind of remember that. Like he was a guy who could do tricks in his forms, but he had 17-foot legs, and he would always stick a good side kick. But Jeff will say he didn't do what?
Turn his
Didn't
hip
roll
on.
his hip. He didn't roll his hip, but that's okay. Still a great kick.
Yes,
I like him, but he would do that, and it's like, but you're kind of like, okay, I know what's gonna happen. Okay, I know what's gonna happen, but and you're typically like, all right, I know what's gonna happen. I know how this form's gonna go, unless I see him make a mistake. But he did so many different things. Like he stuck it, and then just right when you thought he was just gonna sit down, do a pseudo block, he didn't do that. He just went right there and boom, did a switch gainer, and you're like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Right? You're like, oh, okay. I mean, yeah, I know that's a thing, but like, I definitely didn't see that coming from you, right? From a guy who typically doesn't do a move like that, and definitely doesn't change their form. Like, how'd this happen? And I don't know what it was. He must have just thought, anything I've ever tried in training, I'm doing it now.
Yeah.
And he didn't win the grand. I was like, this is crazy. This is one of the best. Is it the best though? Is it? I don't think it's better.
So another person I think
I don't
about,
think it's my favorite, but it's one that's definitely on the top of my mind.
Another person I think about, and then is Kim Do, because Kim Do as a junior, that was his form. I mean, that was his tournament really that put him on the mat on the Michigan circuit, and he won a grand there as a junior. He also was on the he was the T-shirt for like several years. Okay, was him as a junior, and then later on, like Joe Corley and those guys really just loved Kim Do. So many of his performances as a junior were awesome. He was one of the only ones that was able to beat Carmichael, or win a Battle of Atlanta Grand in those early 90s besides Carmichael. Also, one year when he was an adult, so John won the Grand, right? In 90, this was that 97, where it was the where they had two Battle of Atlantas, okay? So
which one, the spring or the fall?
This was the fall one, okay?
Okay.
So this is when Kim and David were on Team Eagle. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah.
It was like one of the cool teams. It was kind of like Team DS, but like they just called it Team Eagle.
Right. Well, Young Juan was a part of that. So he was.
Oh, is that why they called it?
Okay. Yeah, that was leading that. So, anyways, I don't know where he got this idea, but he just decided, you know what? I'm going to wear an all white uniform and a white belt, and I'm going to do my form to like a Whitney Houston song or like a Mariah Carey slow song. Yeah. And it was freaking cool, man. And I mean, he didn't win, but it was a moment,
like that. Remember when he would do that too? Remember when he had the camera guy go and like lay down in the ring? Who was that? I don't remember who that guy was, but he had a guy. But regardless, if anybody knows who it was,
it's probably Jeff LaFrance, but I don't know.
Oh, you're probably right. But he would lay down. He laid down and held the camera up while Kim was doing his presentation, and then Kim basically let out like a battle cry and then flipped over the top of him. It was pretty damn cool.
It was cool.
While the camera's going, it was cool. Kim did so many different things, right? But listen, his front flip kick knockout, that's easily the best thing he's ever done at the battle.
Yeah, I would say like he would have the battle, like he would be one of those people. I would say top 10 battle performers would be a Kim Do, really cool to see. I mean, go back and watch a lot of the Battle of Atlanta stuff from the 80s, guys. There's a lot of good video from that on YouTube, and a lot of good fighters, that maybe you haven't seen before. Watch it. It's fun. I love watching like Jay Bell as like a young competitor fight there against Robert Harris, and seeing Bobby Tucker and seeing Nasty and Tony. A lot of great stuff. So, all right.
Like Longstreet. Johnny Tension had some great Battle of Atlanta performances.
He did. So did Jason. So did Raymond.
Oh,
amazing.
I was a part of it.
Yeah. All All right, so Battle of Atlanta, gonna be blast. What
Always.
we're talking about qualities of a promoter.
Ooh, let's do
Why
it.
is it? So, what is it about the battle, or even what is it that is a quality of a promoter that has made that over the years a big deal?
Well, let's
Like,
talk about that because the Battle of
what do we
Atlanta,
want?
while it's being kind of led by the Ruth Group, now was led by Joe Corley. Well, let's
Yeah,
look at Joe Corley. Joe Corley, when the battle was bigger than anything, bigger than the US Open, bigger than the Diamonds, right? The battle was a verb, right?
yeah,
So, Joe Corley really kind of looked at it as like, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to do this. I'm going to make it whatever. The battle can only happen one time a year. Let's do it. And it was never without maximum effort, right? Whatever we're going to do, it's with Matt, like, let's do it. Now, there are some
well,
things that he did to get in his
hold
own way, sure,
on.
but it wasn't
Right, but
without ideas.
remember what remember he would have the battle and then have Karate Mania. Like, he would have it as a separate thing, like the finals was called like Karate Mania, right? And that's where he would do a lot of the PKA, like World Championship Kickboxing
That's right.
happening as well. Like, it was more than just a national karate tournament. It was a full on thing, or one thing kind of
Mhm.
led to the next. And, like, he had like seeded fighters in the 80s, like to fight in this round robin type, well, not round robin, but big tournament for the finals, like an extra money, almost like what we see now with open weight or something, So there, he was an amazing promoter. Like he had a great mind for the sport and how to make something excite people, right? He also knew how to bring in celebrities. He also knew how to market people like, his great friend Jeff Smith, Bill Wallace.
Yeah.
He knew how to market these guys. He was a great school owner. And, he also, what I think he did back then that I don't know if they still do is good enough today, is that all of the schools were involved. All the martial arts schools in the area were involved in
Correct.
this, and every single martial arts school had a huge poster, that you were going to the battle. It was just everybody was going to the battle. It wasn't just local; it was all over the East Coast. Everybody was there,
Well, I
Uh,
think he did a really good job of building good relationships.
mhm.
And I think the Roots do a good job with that as well. So
They
when we're
do.
talking about qualities of a promoter, okay? I'm going to bring up another name that has both good and bad qualities, okay? So Ross Levine brought up Corey Schaefer, and how Corey Schaefer was always like, Ross, you're doing great. You just got to do this thing, do this thing. Corey Schaefer always has like he has like a closer's mentality as far as sales goes. Like he's always like, hey, let's get this. He's got a closer's mentality, right? Corey Schaefer can also he's got some a-hole in him too, right? But I think, well, it's not. I got some a-hole in me too. It's not like the worst thing, right? He does,
Right.
right? He he could be abrasive, right? He can be kind of like, what the heck are you thinking, type of thing, right? But listen, the US Open, it's a phenomenal event too, right? So building relationships is extremely important. So Joe Corley building relationships with people, not just in the Georgia area, Florida, like you said, the whole East Coast is such an important thing because if you don't
Right.
have relationships with people to be able to come, right? What do you have, right? You
Right.
have an intramural tournament now. And the reason why they come is because it's your school and to the point where maybe they just don't. So
Yeah.
when you start burning bridges, then it's not going to go well.
Well, another quality, we talked about building relationships, but also being building a strong team, like someone who's a good leader, who's
Well,
a
that's
good
fantastic.
delegating. And I think, right now the Roofs and Greg Roof has become their whole team. It's not just Greg,
It's
it's
Kobe.
his sons. It's, well, it's all his whole family that's involved
Yeah.
except Ryan. But, all these guys. Also, you have the Presley family. You have the Rudolphs that are really all in this, right? Together, they have a whole team, and Truth Entertainment is really, just all built off of, the Atlanta and other things that they do as well. But it's the professionalism they do, man. 2015, they have a finals, like 2 finals, having a real, like, say, hey, we're going to do a Friday night
fight. Yeah.
and then a Saturday night finals. And that Saturday night finals is really going to be just team fighting. And it's going to be a 8-man and women top forms competitor tournament where they all go against each other to see who's the best. Like something unheard of, right? No juniors in the final. Maybe they had some juniors, but it was mostly like, it wasn't like NASCA type stuff, So they have really tried to be innovative. They have an amazing show. They have a great finals, and they do just fun stuff as well throughout. So with the camps and everything. So yeah, so I feel like building a strong team. You also look at someone like a Hunter, and
Lion.
John Sharkey, right? You're talking about 2 guys, Sharkey, who was great at building a strong regional, AKA, league and having that following, that structure with them, but also having a strong school that's going to delegate to, all right, you're going to run this, you're going to run this, you're going to run this. He's always been like that. It's not just since Hunter's been around. They've always done that. And now Hunter took the whole thing of taking the finals to that next level, right? The production and the everything looks. So these are some
the first
real
to tell you,
qualities.
like if there's a major question or if you want to know, he'll be like, you got to ask Hunter.
Yep. And the thing is, these are qualities that are helping us move into the future. And this is why we really look at these events as high level events, right? The other thing though, is that you look at, like, again, we'll go back to communication. We'll go back to people just being a little bit easier to deal with, right? So who are some of the best customer service that you've dealt with? I know the past 2 years, Christine Rodriguez and honestly, everyone from Quebec Open have been amazing. Really just focus on customer service, doing amazing jobs, and saying, hey, I can help you with this. Let's do this.
I'll give you a really good example of one, and he's no longer a promoter. But I mentioned his name earlier. It was Rich Batista.
Yeah.
So, 1 year,
it's crazy to see him this year, man. It's crazy to see him this year.
Yeah.
He was at Rhode Island. It was just like, whoa, does not look the same.
1 year I went to
Yeah, Leandro, you're right. Toronto, those guys, the Polides, do a great job as well.
Very good. Yeah,
I'm gonna share that in a second too. Go.
So 1 year I go to New England Open with a few guys, and we're gonna team fight. Nobody knows who I am. Nobody knows anything. Right. And this particular year, there was a storm that day, so there wasn't a lot of people couldn't make it on Friday, and so there was like 3 teams, us included, that were going to be there. And when the other 2 were like, well, who's fighting? And like, I don't know, it's just a club, I guess. They bowed out because they thought you needed 4 teams to get money. Well, we didn't know nothing, right? We don't know anything. Right. We just know the names of the divisions we're competing in, literally, right? And so Rich says to us, like, listen, it's not your fault that they bowed out and that there was a storm. I'm going to give you first place prize money. And he didn't tell anybody. Right. And I'm like, well, that's okay. Like, we understood. Like, honestly, if you don't know who I am and I know who you are, I probably didn't have a shot to win the prize money if everybody else was here. So I understand. It's okay. Like, if you really want to be nice and like give us our money back. Like, okay, that would be nice. I appreciate that. I'm 18 years old at this point, right? And he goes, no, I appreciate you coming. I appreciate you training and you putting everything into it. It's not your fault. I'm going to give you first place prize money. Wow.
Right.
He didn't need to
Right.
do that. Right. Now, I think you need a little balance. I think you need a little bit of Joe Greenhaw. So when people start whining, you can say, shut up. It's going to go this way. Because that's the right thing to do. This is the right thing to do. I don't care that everybody says it has to be that way. It doesn't. All right. We're going to do it this way because it's the right thing to do. And you go, wow. All right, cool. Right. Because Joe will do that too. When push comes to shove, you may not always like the way he gives you the answer. Right. He will piss you off and he'll own that. He'll own that he pisses people off. Right. He gets it. But in the end, when it's the right thing to do, it's the right thing to do. And those are the things, the ones that stand on integrity above anything else. I really appreciate that.
No, I appreciate that too. I want to get into, the teamwork, right? So you're talking about, like, I feel like Amerikick, man, those guys have really continued to step up, working together with Jared, Bob Liker, Jill, and then Mark Russo and his whole team. And these guys really have built something over the past 10, 15, 20 years, where there was 2 separate tournaments. They were both NBL tournaments, then WSKF tournaments. Then they said, the best way is for us to combine and make this work together. And they did. And it continues to grow. And the most people, especially the coaches, really push their event a lot more than others because it's focused on professionalism, being there on time. I'm sorry if you don't like that you have to be here for me, but this is what's going to help the sport move forward. These guys were involved big time in WACO and still are now with the Top 10 USA, and their union with Hungary now with Corelli. And then also Jared's heavily involved in WKF and those circuits. So you know what? Let's take what they do amazing. They're professional. Let's put it over here. And so it's really cool to see that growth. And those guys, like, they listen and they pay attention. And they talk to the other promoters and they also talk to the other competitors and see what they want. So, and a lot of people, you can't complain about going there and not getting enough fights because they have plenty of divisions for fighting there. So, and forms.
Well, I think that the theme that you basically said is your team, right? And I think we would be remiss if we didn't mention the Diamond Nationals, right? They do a phenomenal job. And one of the things I just kind of had, and this is decades into being at the Diamonds, I just kind of had to sit back and I go, they don't do the status quo. They could just give a little bit of extra prize money for this and a little bit of extra prize money for that. But they do a lot. Like, remember that super fight trophy? Remember that thing? Do you know how much money that trophy cost? Right? That was like solid glass or crystal.
Yeah.
I think it was like over $500 for the trophy alone. And it was heavy.
Yeah.
Right? Since Hamid won a couple, I'm like, dude, is this one of those? Yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Right? It's so heavy. And then I just randomly was in John Worley's office and I'm like, I'm like, just Worley, just shoot it to me straight. How much is one of those things? And he was like, Alex, you don't want to know. And I'm like, well, I kind of do. And he told me, I think it was somewhere around that. And I'm like, my goodness.
Wow.
And now what do we like $10, $20, $30 a trophy sometimes, at max, at max for the big ones. It was like $500. It's crazy. Right. So just to think like, and he didn't have to, he was already giving away $2,500 for the grand prize winner. Right.
Correct.
So, and then just to say, no, not only did you win all this cash was the only reason you were competing in this thing. It wasn't for this trophy that you've never seen before. You've never even seen this trophy. Right. But we're going to spend more than anybody else has for an award, physical award that you're not even, like most competitors, martial artists, can't really remember all of theirs once they're all done. We can't. They're going to spend all that much money on that. Like, wow. They just look at what they're going to do and go, you know what? I'm not going to base what we're going to do on what everybody else does. What's the right thing to do? What's the best thing to do?
Yeah.
It was cool.
No, I agree, man. And you know what? Like, we have guys like that've been around for a long time, like Dennis Brown, Muhammad.
Oh, he was
Guys,
top on
man,
my list. Muhammad
they have a
Jahan Vash.
strong, they have a strong just support group, leadership, and they've, you know, they're known in their community, you know, and everyone, it's that respect, you know, that's a quality of promoter, is that respect that, oh, Master Brown, I'll do whatever you need me to do. Where do you need me to go? You know, Master Muhammad, where do you need me? Let's go.
Remember
You
when
know,
Wesley Snipes did his
hold on,
whole
same thing with Manny Senior. It's the same thing. He commands. He doesn't demand respect. He commands it. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Go ahead. Remember what?
Remember when Wesley Snipes did his whole tribute to the martial arts masters?
Yeah.
He had Dennis Brown in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had Dennis Brown in there. Wesley Snipes, you know,
Right.
a Hollywood actor on national television. He puts together this big tribute to the martial arts masters. Got Dennis Brown right there. That's a pretty dang cool thing.
Another thing that, man, Toronto, so the Pleiades have done a great job with their tournament and letting it grow and seeing it grow. And so have really everyone involved with Quebec. You know, both of these guys in Canada, they do it right because what they've done, they've made it not just a national event, but they made it a community event that the whole town gets involved in, right? They have big seminars. They have other people involved, other acts, you know, if it's some type of team or something to come and to perform there and be involved in it, right? And they made it a big deal. Toronto, what's cool about that, man, Leandro said their customer service is great. It really is. But they also have done a great job at bringing people in and saying, hey, we want you to do a seminar, 2 seminars, one on Thursday, one on Friday. And literally you go in there and they have all 8 of their rings and they're coordinating their seminars. All right. This hour is blah, 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 blah. Jeff Dawson is going to be in ring 5 doing Korean forms. We got Casey Nash next to him at ring 6 and 7 doing weapons. We got Jared Likert doing traditional and 8 and 9. We got, you know, like, and it went like that for 6 hours, man. 6 hours of just doing that. And it was awesome. And they did, you know, in one room on Thursday, just smaller, but, you know, 4 hours. They had like Justin was there. Juliana was there, you know, like it was just, it's just cool. And the way that, and the thing is their community went out and said, hey, you need a bigger facility. We'll find it for you. And we're going to help you get it. We'll even help you. Yeah. Help however we can. So now they're going to be in a bigger location, a bigger facility because they not only just have a tournament, they're giving back to their area and making a big deal. So, you know, that's something that I think is missing. That's that innovation that I think, and this is that next part, what are the qualities we want to see our promoters have, right? What are some ones that we need to take it to the future? And I think that's one of them. It's got to be more than just another tournament on the NASCAR circuit, right? Or on the WACO circuit.
I mean, the thought that keeps coming to my head is rules. Like rules. Do you have a solid understanding of the rules? And are rules no matter what? Or are they rules when it fits? You know? Do you want to change this rule for a specific reason? Do you need to change this rule? Sometimes that answer can be good and bad. One of the things I generally kind of appreciated about this open circuit martial arts competition is that, all right, if we feel that something needs to be a rule, it can be a rule change right now, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, you identified something that needs to change, and so you just put it into place. All right. But I also think like, but why did you do that? Right?
Mhm.
Like, remember when there was that, it was like 20 years ago where this was a real thing. I want people to think about this, right? If you, it only existed for fighters, by the way, right?
Right.
But if you were a fighter and you were on, picture this, that Luis Nunez, okay, he's on Diamond G3. If Paul Mitchell picks him up today, he can't fight in team fights at the Battle of Atlanta for Paul Mitchell. Not allowed. Not allowed to do that for 2 tournaments. The only team he can team fight with is the one that he did before. All right. So if you switch teams, you can't team fight for 2 tournaments.
Right.
It was just nutty.
Yeah, it just
It
made
did.
no sense.
It lasted for what did it last for? Like a year and a half or something like that, right? But
Crazy.
and it was that's a look at that. That's another rule that Jack Felton broke. It was all around Jack Felton. Right?
Right.
That guy's so dang good that he just makes circuits change rules. The NBL had a Jack Felton rule, right?
Yeah. Yeah. True. It's true.
Yeah.
The age
They
rule.
they literally named it the Jack Felton rule.
I don't know if it was named that. but-
I saw it named as that. Maybe it was just kind of written down as like, listen, this is the
Well, I thought
rule,
it was NASCAR, but all right. Yeah.
but this is why, right?
Yeah.
But
No. Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, you got to be, well, you got to really be into it. You know what I mean? I think that's part of it. I think some of these promoters aren't into it anymore, and you know what? I think we look at them. I think a lot of people would say qualities would be that we want is innovation or people to try new things. But here's the deal. This is something that we forget about, and I think again, I actually had an hour-long conversation with Boy Slidell over the weekend or last weekend, the week before. And, you know, like people later on kind of like said he was stuck in his ways and that he didn't innovate. But then you're saying this to the guy who created the term creative forms, who was the first person to split styles, who was the first person to actually set up their weight classes to go with Waco because that's the position that he wanted to. So really everyone that's thinking about, hey, Waco, he started that and had that idea back in 1990. Okay. We're talking about someone who created year-end finals. You know what I mean? We're talking about, I mean, there's so many things that he innovated, weight classes and junior sparring, you know, and continuous fighting really being a thing in the States. So many things. And you know what? Like, heck, he was really the first league to even put Juventus out there. So that didn't end the way that it wanted to, but hey, you know what I'm saying? So, but then you're telling someone that he's not innovative or he's stuck in his ways. He's like, I did all of this, you know, and what it really comes down to is that I think a lot of times people, and I've dealt this with as a promoter with it too, people know that you want to like them and they say, oh yeah, we're going to push. We want you to do this and do this and do this because everyone wants it. Everyone wants it. And they stir you up. And then you make the change and it's not the right thing because really no one wanted it. It was other people wanting it their way and trying to get it, you know, very self-serving type things. And I think one of the qualities of a promoter is to be able to see through that, to really see, okay, it can't just help my guys. It can't just help this one person. It's got to be something that's going to help the sport overall. Will it take some time and will it be, you got to have patience too, to kind of get through the mugginess of it. Right. And, you know, the suckiness part of it. Right. Because let's be honest, right now, the biggest thing that the promoters really need to do in ASCA is make it to where you cannot be a judge unless you are certified by NASCA. And it's going to suck.
What do you have to do to get that certification?
Well, yeah, and what you have to do.
Who's policing that certification?
Exactly.
Like I've
all
said,
that has to be done.
I could certify a brick.
Correct. But there has to be some type of thing in play, and you have to hold to it. You can't have a certification with 8 people in there, and none of those are actually the center judges, and all the center judges weren't there. If you want to be a center judge, you have to be at that meeting. You know, there's things you got to hold people to, and it's going to stink. And guess what? It's not going to be fun that first year until everyone realizes, hey, we're serious about this, right? And so I think that those are some qualities that promoters have to do. Look at the bigger picture and look
going onto your certification. I think you're right on. I remember when Nick Kane got his A-level certification in Waco. We all looked at that like, this is a really big deal, because we know that they will grade you on your judging performance every single time you're judging. Eyes are on you every single time, right? So there's not a time where you could be judging and like, oh man, I missed that call. Well, at least nobody saw. It's impossible, right? Eyes are always on you. And I think if we have that level of accountability, that, hey, you just got to know you can't judge this until you step your game up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we get it. We know, all right? Okay. Because I don't have a name to use myself, okay? Alex, you really kind of bombed that weapons division, all right? I don't know what you were quite scoring. What was your thought process in that? Well, and then after the if you realize I didn't have any really idea, I was just guessing. Okay, well, we need you, judge. We need the people to judge, but we need the quality of our tournament to supersede all of it. If it's going to take a little longer, it's going to take a little longer. If we get the answer right, you know what I mean? So Alex, you can't judge. Okay, but we'll have you judge fighting, or maybe even that. Wait, what if I did that? What if it was like, Alex, we were watching you. You bombed 3 straight calls that we think cost that guy the division. We got to have you step up. Okay.
Right.
It's not about me at that point.
No. Yeah, and the biggest thing is it has to be it has to be worth it to those judges to hold themselves to that, right? After all, all right, forget this. It's not worth it. This isn't fun anymore. So there has to be a reason. So again, you know, I think the biggest thing is that we have a lot of innovative promoters, because guess what? They've been doing it for a long time, and they are innovative. Also, you're not going to get everything you want just because you want it. And some things take time, you know, some things also don't happen because something else is holding that back, which is another thing that maybe you like. And I think sometimes if we want this thing, we'll have to get rid of this thing, which you really like too. And I don't think people realize that sometimes, right?
But i.e., what is in the finals? Oh, I want to have more fighting in the finals, but I also want 4 more form divisions. Well, then you don't really.
Exactly. Well, you know what? Let's get rid of these juniors and stuff in the finals. Okay, let's try it. But how many of the groups are going to come? Are as many people going to come? You know, I don't know. I doubt it, because I tell you what, the most liveliest whole event of the whole NASCA weekend is the junior runoffs. Okay. And the truth is, sometimes because it gets to be the same, some people a lot of those juniors don't go to the finals because, you know what? They had their finals right there, the runoffs. That was the most fun they'll have of the weekend. There's got to be a way to highlight that, you know, and show that off. So, but I don't know, man. This has been fun just talking about the qualities that we want our promoters to have and that they do have. We have some amazing promoters. I think the biggest thing for all of us, and again, we've really just kind of hinted on the NASCA promoters. There's so many other great promoters as well. We'll do a Waco show sometime soon about these guys that are doing great things. But I think the biggest thing is teamwork, is working together. You know, so.
Yeah, MSKC. Chris is right. MSKC is a great circuit.
Yep, started about 2 years longer. Things improved greatly. having newer officials around an experience center seemed to improve the quality around the local area for us. A lot smaller circuit than most was a step forward. And man, they're doing a great job. They're having consistent tournaments, and they're really being open to new. You're seeing a lot of new schools and new teams to the sport come out of there. So awesome job. All right,
Okay.
Alex.
I got to tell you this.
Oh, the bat thing. All right, go with that, and then we'll finish it.
It happened again. I had another. You got to hear how it happened this time. If you guys don't remember, it was a few seasons back, I told a story about how there was a bat in my house. This is the third time we have had a bat in our house. Now, this one was different than the rest of them. Wife, she's out on a run. I've got the kids. We're playing. We're doing this. Getting close to it. It's all right. It's time for bedtime, right? But it's still light out because it's summer. It's like, all right, but we got to go. Bat number 3. So I told my older 2 kids, I'm like, all right, just go upstairs, go get your pajamas on, and then we can still play. We'll do what we're gonna do. So my son goes upstairs, and he's like, Daddy, I gotta go potty. I'm like, all right, go potty and then come down. And he runs downstairs. He's like, Dad, there's a bat in the bathroom. And I'm like, what? Dad. This is the way he says it too. Dad, there's a vampire bat. It's a vampire bat in the bathroom. Now, because this has happened 2 other times before, I have to take him kind of seriously.
Yeah.
But I did think it was funny that he called it a vampire bat. Right. So I'm like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, come show me. But now I know their flight pattern. So I'm looking up. I'm trying to see, like, is there anything? But like, I don't see anything. I don't see nothing. And he's in there. Now, at the top of my stairs, and I have a tall house, right? There's a bathroom right up at the top of the stairs. As soon as you get there, you just walk straight into the bathroom. And the shade is always pulled down, but this one's not. It's like halfway up and crooked. And then sure freaking enough, I see just poking out from the top, just this furry wing, and it just moving so slightly. And I'm like, oh, just you see the fur on it too. And I'm like, all right, everybody outside. Get outside. And my son has no clothes on, right? And I'm like, no, not like that. No. Get something and go on and then go outside. So he goes, and I don't even know where. How did he find like a pair of shorts that are 4 sizes too big? Like, they don't even exist. Like, where did you find this? So I'm outside. Now, if you don't know, bats are, I don't know if they are in every area, but definitely out here, they're a protected animal, right? You can't like hurt them. If you do, like, you could get in a lot of trouble, right?
Right.
So I'm like, all right, well, we can sit around here for a little bit. We got like another hour and a half or so that we can wait before it's like, okay, we got to get these kids to bed. All right. So I know where the bat is. So I'm not overly concerned. Right. So I call places and they're like, we won't touch bats. We won't have nothing to do with them. So finally I call probably like 5, 6 places. I finally got someone and they're like, well, I think we can schedule you for like 2 to 3 days from now. I'm like, you mean 2 or 3 days? I'm looking at him right now. He's like, well, we have to approach it the right way because, they're protected. I'm like, I'll protect it with a hammer and a blowtorch. What are you talking about? Right. And they're like, no, it's protected. You can get in a lot of trouble. And I'm like, whatever, click. Right. So my wife gets back from a run and I'm like, listen, this is what happened. This is the status. She's like, all right, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, I have to go. I have to take this thing out. I have to go get rid of it myself. Right. So she had a really good idea. She's like, why don't you put on my thorn gloves? Right. They go all the way up. And it's kind of like if they protect you from thorns, like, all right, this should be all right. Now I got to think, how am I going to capture this thing? So I'm like, let me just get this old towel. Right. I'm going to capture this thing in that. Right. Now, remember, it's on my drape, on my shade. Right. So I'm like, I can't like scoot it into anything. Like, I got to attack the thing. So I go in there and you can't see it. So now I'm like, crap. Did this thing get away? Did this thing fly away? Where is this in my house? This is no good. So Lindsay says, I want to come help. So she comes in. She puts Jeff. I wish I could have
my
got a video of this. She puts on a hoodie, cinches the thing all the way up. She puts on a pair of sunglasses, right, and everything. Did you ever see the movie The Great Outdoors? Right?
Yeah.
Remember when they were hunting the bat? She looked like that. Right? It was hilarious. Just that alone. And
Oh my God.
I'm sitting here in like a tank top and shorts, and I am like, wow, yeah, this is gonna be great. And she goes and she hides in the shower, like around the corner. I'm like, it's open. Got wings. You hiding behind with no head, not even have a header, right? So I pull down the shade. Sure enough, it's clung right to the shade. Oh, and Jeff, I'm telling you, like I could see it breathing. It was disgusting. Disgusting. So I'm like, Linz, I can't guarantee I'm not about to destroy these shades, right? And I just lunged at it, bam, grabbed the thing. So then it took everything for me to not just punch it over and over again as hard as I could because I wanted that thing dead. It was a little guy, right? So I'm like, now all of a sudden I got compassion for a bat. Like, what is with me, right? So now I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna take it outside. But am I just gonna go open it up, let it fly so we can get back in my house? Heck no. So I walk a block down. But now I don't want to open it up because I don't want it coming at me. I'm the one who just attacked the dang thing. So I throw it in the middle of the street. Nothing happens. Doesn't move.
Geez.
I'm looking at the towel. I'm like, is it in there? Right? Like, what? Did it somehow get out? Like, I'm pretty sure I grabbed the thing. I wrapped it up. But now what would you do? What would you do in this moment, Jeff? If you throw it, it's on the street. Do you go look in the towel? What would you do?
No, I would just kind of like grab the very end of the towel and just be like, oh, that's probably what I would do. Try to bring it up.
Figure out, but you have to know. Oh, I don't know. Would you have to know if the bat is in there? Or are you comfortable going in your house? Being like, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Maybe after if it was just one time, yeah, but after this has happened 3 times, yeah, I would probably want to know exactly, you know.
Here's why it's happened so many times, I guess. The best explanation people can give us is we live near a river, okay? We live in the Fox Valley area of Illinois. So there's the Fox River, right? So plus side, we don't have a lot of mosquitoes because bats, right? So this time of year, apparently what happens is they all like come down, babies come down, but they can't really fly very well. So they land on roofs and stuff like that. And then they'll come in like vent pipes.
Okay.
This is the best explanation. So,
all right, so tell me what happened to the bat.
Oh yeah, I threw it in the middle of the street, and I'm like, I hope this thing gets run over. All right, I took the whole towel. No, I'm not even. I don't care that there anyone from PETA listening. Yep, that's what I did. I'll tell you what street I live on and everything. All right, I don't give a dang. But then think about it. So if the best explanation is they're coming down from these trees. And they're like, yeah, there's got to be that tree. I'm like, cool, burn it down. It's creating a big problem. Burn the sucker to the ground.
Oh my God.
Wouldn't you?
I don't know about, bats. I would probably feel that way about bats too. Yeah. I probably would.
It was the greatest thing. My son's like, because I told him how proud of him I was. Like, hey, buddy, I'm so proud of you. I don't want to build him up because he was freaked out. Imagine how freaked out you'd be. He went to the bathroom to go pee and looks up, and 8 inches from his head, there's a bat.
Right.
You're 5 years old. What would you do?
Freak out? Yeah, run.
I pee everywhere. I'm glad he didn't do that. All right. So, but here's what he says after I was, oh, my buddy, I'm so proud of you. You help protect the family. So then he's like, yeah, I found vampire bat in my house, but my dad got him and he took care of it. But he's really proud of me. And now there's no more vampires. This dude. It's fantastic.
No more vampires.
All right, I've made this story too long. That was great. But yeah, I'm serious. Burn that sucker to the ground. That's what I want to do.
That's crazy, Alex. All right, so last thing, what are you looking forward to seeing at the battle?
I'm looking forward to seeing a Jeff Doss championship. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing.
There we go. Sounds good to me. Let's do it. I'm ready. I'm ready.
This has been another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I am Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. See you next week.